Policymakers must break India's cycle of poverty. They should turn away from supply-side measures and pursue demand-side policies, help the common man. In early November, three troubling reports came in. Approximately 5.46 million Indians lost their jobs in October, as per CMIE data. In particular, our youth unemployment rate was 28.26% in 2020 to 2021, compared to 15.66% in 2016 to 2017. By August 2021, around 33% of all employable youth were estimated to be unemployed. With 20 million Indians entering the job market annually, there are few jobs being created. All this, in a period when the informal sector, which was a natural backup, is roiled by a push for formalization, driven by demonetization, GST, and the lockdown. Ideally, India could have capitalized on an opportunity to create millions of jobs by developing a competitive ready-made garment industry, similar to Bangladesh. This could have been done by providing incentives to the informal sector and MSMEs to acquire scale, while pursuing trade deals with Europe, Canada, and the US that unlocked access to such markets. Instead, India's textile exports were virtually flat between 2015 and 2019. The uni-labor cost of producing a shirt in India is 50 cents compared to 22 cents in Bangladesh. Much of this is due to an unproductive workforce and poor logistics. The consequence of policy inaction is stark. As per a World Bank estimate in 2017, 12 million jobs shifted from China to Bangladesh in the past decade. Much of this could have refurbished a textile ecosystem in India. Meanwhile, for Indians with jobs, the daily commute is pinching hard. Petrol prices were above 100 rupees per litre in most cities in November, driven by high taxes. India is likely to have electric vehicle, EV, sales rising optimistically to just 8% of all new car sales by 2030, a clear case of lack of policy incentives leading to high-cost EVs. This is an opportunity lost. Countries like China, which seek to solve such structural issues, like dependence on foreign oil, have spent the past decade focused on building an EV industry, incentivizing production and pursuing a rapid growth in charging stations. China is now on track to have EVs comprise 40% of all car sales by 2030. The average India's kitchen budget has been hit by rising retail inflation. LP prices have risen sharply, almost 30% between January and October 2021. With almost 300 million registered domestic LPG consumers, the impact on personal and fiscal finances has been significant. Some of this is also due to policy missteps. The state has pushed for greater adoption of LPG cookstoves. Instead, a push for electric cookstoves could have helped reduce import demand and shielded the ordinary consumer from price hikes. Meanwhile, edible oil has seen significant hikes, almost 30% for packed mustard oil and vanaspati in Delhi between June 2020 and June 2021, almost 40% for sunflower. This is partly due to a dependence on imports for palm oil. A push for biodiesel production is also having a concomitant impact. In an ideal world, policymakers would have sought to increase the average yield of an oilseeds farm in India and cut duties on imports. Campaigns to shift edible oil demand to locally produced edible oil types, such as mustard and sunflower, could have broken the linkage with international prices. We are now actively promoting deforestation in the northeast by a push for palm oil plantations. Additionally, even ordinary vegetables are now pricier. Daily essentials from key FMCG players have become dearer over the past few years. Put together, such factors have made Indians poorer. An average farmer's net worth declined by 33.8% between 2013 and 2019. An average entrepreneur declined by 30.5% on a real value basis. To cope, Indians have taken to personal debt en masse. Between 2012 and 2018, prior to COVID-19, the number of Indian households with debt rose significantly, with an incidence of indebtedness, percentage of households with any outstanding debt in 2018, in rural households of 35%, and in urban households of 22.4%, All India Debt and Investment Survey, NSS 77th round, 2019. The average rural household in India had an outstanding debt of approximately Rs. 59,728, the average urban household was twice as much. Increasingly, the poorest Indians are given the worst conditions for new loans. 44.8% of all new borrowers in April to June 2019 were from the subprime near prime category and higher credit risk. Such citizens are charged loans at 25 to 40% annual percentage rate and then chased by recovery agents. As a consequence, many Indians have had to flog off their family gold. Gold loan NS outstanding have risen by 77.4% between August 2020 and July 2021. All this, in a vicious cycle, has led to a return to mass poverty. The number of Indians who are poor, with a daily income less than or equal to $2 per day, rose to 134 million in 2021 from 59 million in 2020. The middle class is shrinking, from 99 million in 2020 to 66 million in 2021, Pew Research, March 2021. All this has happened in an era of extreme inequality, with India's top 1% holding 73% of the national wealth in 2017. There seems to be a palpable loss of hope. Going forward, we should chart out a new journey for India, one where policymakers skew away from supply-side measures, for example cutting taxes for corporates, monetizing state assets, burdening MSMEs, and pursue demand-side measures, seeking to help the common man. Over the past decade, our policymakers have grandly announced hundreds of ineffectual policies to promote manufacturing in India, create jobs, and raise farmer income. Meanwhile, Bangladesh simply made clothes. They are richer than us now. A simple example highlights how policy inaction, apathy, and mistakes have brought us to this moment. MSMEs have had a rough decade, being dislocated by demonetization and being hit by a complex GST system. Meanwhile, a slowing economy, with little to no demand-side policy measures, has meant poor revenue growth for such firms tipped over into steep decline. Across sectors, a whiff of oligopoly is emerging, where MSMEs have no place and where the state is comfortable with large corporates dominating the value chain. In select sectors, the share of the top 5 firms in total revenues of the sector can be quite stark. For FMCG, it is 64%, for cement 65%, for infrastructure 73%, for power 81%, for electrical 75%. Amidst all this, India's policymakers could have intervened to conduct antitrust actions, enhance competition, open up greater financing towards MSMEs, and offer a simplified taxation system. There is still time, only just, to course correct. Implications of using bankruptcy code against discoms.